Paul, one of the things I've really enjoyed about working with Aspire42 with you and the team has been your constant innovation. And I'm curious about what role listening to the customer has, or listening to the market and consumers has had in that ability to constantly innovate.
Yeah, it's very easy, I think, for a business to say that we're all about innovation. But you've actually got to put the proof behind that. I'm very fortunate in that we've got not only a managing director but a chairman that's very keen on how we can evolve spaces, how we can, it's easy to say that word disrupt, but just looking at not being content to go into a business space and saying this is the business space, we're going to go into it, create a brand, create a product, and take our slice of that pie, but how we can really, really improve it. And again, I sometimes dislike answering questions like this because it's hard to not be very cliched, but there's no point doing that if the customer is not at the heart of it. So while we can kind of sit around a boardroom table or in an office or having a coffee and start kind of pontificating on, oh, wouldn't this be a great idea, or what if we did it like this instead? It's very dangerous if you just sit there and say, well, that's a great idea, cool, let's go and do it. I think a danger that most marketing people, and I've certainly fallen into it, is that you don't go out and ask your customers enough and often enough. We probably still don't do it enough. But I think the key for us is, and with some of the work we've done with you, is let's go and test our hypotheses. Ultimately, test and learn is something you're always going to be doing in the market anyway, but at least to give you some idea of what people are thinking, how they might react to an idea, so that you don't just kind of go off and do it in this blind belief that, we've had a great idea, it's going to work. So it's, and it's something I think it's very hard, and we're going through the process with you at the moment in a new project that we're working on. It's kind of very hard to hold yourself back when you're trying to kind of progress with something you want to go to market very quickly, to just say, let's just hold the horses and go and actually test this out a little bit. But ultimately it can stop you making mistakes. So let's say I'm very fortunate that we work in a business, as I mentioned earlier on, we're looking at more than one industry, and that we're encouraged to try and think of how to innovate and make a space. And I think it's more critical than ever if we look at what's happened in the last 18 months. I personally hate the word pivot, but it's just one of those. But ultimately, it's that ability to kind of react and change is kind of critical. And I think you'll see most of the businesses that have been really successful over the last 12, 18 months, other than those that just happen to be in the right space, are the ones that have kind of reacted and innovated. They might not have had the luxury of being able to do research because they just had to literally switch it on and see what happened in the real world. We're lucky we've got a bigger picture in terms of what we're trying to launch. So it's critical. It's exciting to innovate. I find that more inspiring as a job than just going into a role where something's pretty much set. But if you don't go and test out your theories with the real world, I'm not the customer. So my opinion is, my ideas are hopefully useful, but my opinion can be pretty dangerous.